Okay, hello. This is Super Happy Dragon Lucky episode 0x1E, and today is behind enemy lines in Corona Land. So I have a few updates, and then basically get into some of the AMA that's on Den there in the AMA layer. First of all, there are a couple of updates. Let's see. We had the announcement with Block that was a surprise, and mostly it was timing, where we didn't know when that was going out, and there are still some things happening with that. We have to get. There's some questions, I think, in the AMA about this as well, but we have to get info to them on the setup of nodes, and they're going to have to integrate whatever they're going to integrate, and they will be running a level 4 node, and the dragons that had been slated for the block team since 2017, sorry, are going to be sent this week. We're waiting on everything from them. So anyway, that will be an interesting thing, because it comes in line with other things happening in DragonNet and the level 4s. So, which I think there's a question for. I'll just answer in the AMA. We also have some updates in Den coming, and some good stuff with the Creator Works team that's happening. So I'll get into that. I think that's also an AMA from what I looked at. So I'm going to refresh that AMA thread and use whatever the votes were right there, and just get through as many of these as we can. I was going to say the top 10, but we'll just, I think there were, looks like 27 comments in there, so we'll see if I can get through them all. Try not to make it an hour today, but I have up until 9 anyway. So let's see here. First question from Eternal Mickey. By the way, if the audio is okay or not okay, let me know. Want to make sure that you guys can hear everything. First question from Eternal Mickey. 527 energy voted on this. Can you talk about the future updates coming to Den? And one that I'm most excited about. So probably the most immediate, which is in the staging system right now, is hopefully this will be welcomed by all, the removal of the tabs from the top, and a change to the way that the views work, because a lot of people were saying they didn't want replies, they wanted posts only, they wanted chronological versus trending. And so what we did is add an options with 2 switches in it, one of which lets you switch between trending and chronological, and the other lets you switch between show replies and show no replies in whatever stream, whatever view you're in for a layer, or for the global streaming of everything you've subscribed to. So that should be really good. I believe in staging that it's not sticky right now, that when you click it, it has effect, and it as soon as you refresh, it won't stick. But I do believe that, I hope before release, but I do believe that it will be based upon device. So if you set, my default is to always want to see no replies and to see the chronological view. That's what you will see in that device, and it'll stick. So anyway, that's a really big update. There were a bunch of other updates on the actual way that the feed rolls out, behind the scenes technical, which should basically be pretty good performance improvements. So far, from what I've seen, it's been really good, really, really fast, and better in a lot of ways. We have, I believe there are a lot of little small bug fixes, and I don't have a full list, but probably the one I'm most excited about coming is, of course, this view I just described, but also search. And they're working search right now. I believe the back end is done, and it should have all the tokenization and limitization that would help with good searching through all of the content. So I believe that they have to go through and re-index everything, and that'll happen hopefully in the coming weeks. They're getting the front end ready. There are also a couple of interesting things on voting, the interface to vote, that I'm hoping to see, where it will help clue people in for how fresh a post is, beyond just saying, that something was about 7 hours ago or about 2 hours ago. Instead, it'll have that still, but it will have some indication that this is in a certain ranking, because the way that the trending algorithm works, the sooner you vote up something that becomes viral, the more likely that you're going to get a really good matter production out of that. So anyway, it's an interesting concept, and I'm hoping that also comes in soon. There's a lot more than that, of course. So, and I'm pretty much excited about all of it. I guess the other thing to note would be some of the integration with CreatorWorks, and I don't have a date for when that will roll in, but that it'll have for creators, it'll have a lot more power on how to show engagement and media cards for their other platform identities. So what their YouTube and their Instagram and other platforms tied in. So that'll all be coming soon. Let's see here. Next up, Cappy at 458 energy. Hi, I'd like to know about DC's plans for DragonNet to use the Block Cloud infrastructure. That's a new partnership with Block. I'd also like you to tell me how that might change for our nodes. Does this new partnership with Block mean that DC is preparing its entire ecosystem for mass adoption? What that is another partner that is a little more clued in and a little tighter integration with us, that can hopefully put together what we would like to see is a one-click interface for people to run level 4 nodes and ideally all of the verification nodes. We might run some nodes over there. It all kind of depends, and we're hoping that the community does. And we don't have any info on pricing yet at all, of course. But the big piece too is that they will be running their own level 4 with their own time in the main mainnet and DragonNet itself. So that should be good. And it's just another really good integration, and it's someone that we've worked with for years now. I worked there after I left Disney and before we launched Dragonchain. So they're a really, really good team, and they've been advisors to us since the beginning. So let's see here. Next is Vangs at 408 Energy. Can you share any updates on the TV show? On which platforms, networks will we be able to watch it? So it is going to be announced. I'm not certain exactly when. Probably at least end of this month, but that announcement will contain which networks it'll be on. I know that it will be at least available internationally, but I'm not an expert at the TV syndication stuff, so that'll all be in an announcement, and it'll probably be a better question for someone like JD that understands more of that. Let's see here. Next is Jegs at 402 Energy. It seems like everyone in the Telegram chats is a marketing expert. Isn't that true? Mostly the new people, though. But can you run a competition in the community to provide you with a marketing campaign that they feel will benefit Dragonchain the most, which is then voted in by the community to roll out? That would be amazing. That's an excellent idea. And it would be, it's always an interesting, different angle to have a community run or community planned, or at least community feedback on messaging. And it's always really valuable. So that's a good idea. Let's let's talk about it either in Telegram, or maybe either you, Jegs, or I should make a post in Dragonchain layer, and we can start talking about it there, figure out how to plan that, and then make individual proposals or proposals for different components of the plan. And there would probably be some good info to tie it into the things we're already working. So that's a great idea. All right, let's do it. Next is Spansul at 358 Energy. Hi, Joe. Can you share any update about the new customers announced by Trey on Telegram? I'm not certain where he announced everything. I know, I believe that it was spread. I think I saw it in multiple Telegram channels, but I can't say who it is yet. We don't have some of the stuff signed, and I can though say generally what features or what use cases tie in. Primarily, it is a seed to table traceability thing. You could think of it like some of the other things we've done, where I can get a product and scan something and see everything about the production and of that product, the manufacturer, everything, and that we can add more things to it. So it's a big piece of traceability, which you can tie into supply chain and other pieces. You also have something that is really boring but exciting to me, which is proof of compliance capabilities. That is to show, here is our policy or our process as defined by operations and legal that might have gone through some compliance checks, and we can now show that we're following that process before we go home every night. We at any time live, we can see that everything is in place, that we haven't missed anything. We can see what needs to happen to make all the checkboxes green, and so on. And we also have a really good loyalty component involved, which is really exciting because we have a lot of experience with that capability. Even all the way back to Disney, when we experimented a lot with it, but a lot of the crypto world doesn't quite understand that yet, which is really interesting. And it's because it's so much in your face. It's too close to people, I think. So it's one way or another, all of those things together. And there are a couple other little pieces that we have yet to fully define how they tie in, but we have everything out there, and we think that it would be a pretty amazing system, a really valuable piece of software that they're going to be having. So really exciting. And as we get stuff signed, I do believe that it all will be announced. So that'll be good. And there's a lot of other tie-ins with other companies in that space doing things. So it'll be good. Let's see here. Next is Inguma at 355 Energy. You have implied that several clients have been signed or signed shortly or will be signed shortly. What is the development situation of the use cases of these clients? How many are in the testing phase, and how many will start using the platform and generate transactions in less than 3 months? Let's see here. I know that we have that we are working on directly two projects that I guess you could say they're in dev. There's a little bit of testing, of course, but they're mostly in dev. And we have another one that we're starting either tomorrow or Monday. That's a really exciting one. And then we have a couple that we're expecting probably to sign late this month or early April, or mid-April even. But those of course, the ones that we're waiting for later in April, I wouldn't expect transactions for a few months, but at least the one that we're starting very beginning of the month, we should expect transactions pretty soon, because I know they're wanting to roll out at least in May, so they're going to, and they have to open up before that, so that'll be there. And then we do believe at least one of the ones they're working on right now, although I have no idea how many transactions. They should be seeing transactions soon, and there's a couple of interesting components to that we're still waiting to see if they happen. Let's see here. So less than 3 months. I think all of those should hope to see transactions in less than 3 months. So we'll see. Next, James Rocco 22, Rocco at 333 Energy. I love the history and how things came about. That being said, can you give us a little history behind a lesson on how Dragonchain came about, and was Bitcoin the inspiration behind the creation at all? So definitely Bitcoin is, I consider, the start of every single project in this industry, or at least I should say most projects in this industry. And that, I think I probably talked about this too much, but basically, once I came upon Bitcoin, it kind of meshed with everything that I already worked on in software as a software guy, as a software architect. And so it really started to hit me on how to use decentralization, how to use these existing networks, and then how to make it possible for real businesses to actually plug into that tech. And that's where I honed in, and I really saw my interest and focus and what I thought was needed in the world. So that's what Dragonchain is. And it took a while to get to a point where someone would sponsor that and where we could actually build it. But that's what Dragonchain is. And yeah, in the end, I mean, it's all, as Bitcoin is, it's all about liberty, and it's all about using this technology in a way that that benefits your business or your country or your state or whatever it is you're wanting to do. So that's what it's all about. Let's see here. Eternal Mickey, 246 Energy. What books are you reading lately? So this one, some interesting pieces that I just, and for whatever reason, these two books that I'd read years ago. I mean, definitely over 10, over 15 years ago, but I've read more than once. But one of them is Marcus Aurelius Meditations, and that one's amazing because every single thing in there I wish I would have known or read when I was a teenager. But I decided to pull it back out again recently, and that I'm working through. And then also Song of the Bird, which is kind of weird. If any of you know me, and I have read it before, I had a friend that loaned it to me way back, and it's really it's interesting, especially when you're reading it between that and Meditations. It's strange because Meditations are very heavy. This is very spiritual, maybe, I don't know. So anyway, those are two. Hopefully that's not too boring. Grits and Gravy at 240 Energy. What made you laugh this week? Mostly inappropriate stuff on 4chan. And I've had discussions with a few friends recently, and with even my son recently about it, that 4chan is a very interesting place because it's kind of, in my opinion, probably the only real free place on the internet that people tend to say what they think, and a lot of times they'll say it just to trigger people. So there's a lot of stuff in there that's just stupid for stupid sake, and it's funny. There's a lot of stuff that's way beyond. You don't want your kids to see it, but a lot of bad stuff on there, obviously. But that's what Liberty's about. That you will see a lot of bad stuff along with a lot of the good stuff and a lot of the funny stuff. And there are some pretty intense and amazing people that get on 4chan and the chans, and it's an interesting place. And if you're wanting to get updates on, like, say, coronavirus and stuff, that's, in my opinion, the only real place to go. I mean, it does side stuff. There is definitely stuff on Twitter. There's definitely stuff in other areas, general internet, but it's a really good place if you want to see the reality of what's going on, and get all points of view, some of which are going to be totally bogus. But anyway, so that's what made me laugh this week plenty of times. Let's see here. Grits and Gravy at 209 Energy. Any plans to create a product from the keyboard giveaway number generator? This one's really interesting to me because this is one of those untapped things about the technology that we have that no one else is looking at. And it's really interesting because you have to think, is there a product there? Is there not? And I do think there's a product there. I have no idea how big it is. And on the one hand, there would be the typical giveaway. So if you are in a podcast or something else and you want to do a giveaway, this is a much better way to do it, because this way you can prove that your random number or your selection is fair, that you could have no control whatsoever over that selection, which doesn't exist anywhere else. And that's why we did that demo, even though it was kind of silly, giving away that keyboard wasn't really a high dollar item. But, imagine if you applied that to lottery, or if you applied it to, games in Vegas, if you applied it to various of these things, and you could, when a payout happens, when a selection happens, when a contest is decided, everybody can independently prove that they didn't win, but that person did, right? And it's an interesting thing. And that even happened with that keyboard giveaway that, I was in a meeting, and the winner wasn't sure how to claim it, but he said, I think I won this. And other people said, yes, you won it. And, and it was really interesting because it was entirely independent selection. And I already have built the beginnings of the component that pulls the block hash from multiple chains. If you know that keyboard giveaway, we just did Bitcoin, but in the real system, it will use Bitcoin and Ethereum, and hopefully more. We know we'll at least start with those two and combine them. So you would have to control both networks to cheat, which isn't going to happen, right? And ideally, we would have every single interchain involved, so every single block from all of them, and they would be arranged probably in it's more info than you probably care about, but the ordering even of the selection of blocks matters. But yes, we do have plans to create some product for that. I don't know if it would be independent company, independent project. If anybody's interested in taking part, we're game to get some help, but because a lot of it's about the product itself and marketing it and figuring out who wants it. But we do have at least one customer that we have interfaced with and that is interested, and we're trying to figure out next steps there. So that's a big thing. And it's unique. Nobody else does that. It's a really good thing. Next, alongside that is, can we see a demo of how to verify that particular tweet? And I would like to. I just found something yesterday where I can probably share my screen through the stream here. Right now, I'm just going straight off laptop, so I can't do it today. But hopefully we can do that soon. Let's see here. Axion. 157 Energy. Why? Wondering when the L4 will be available for why Dragonchain winners contest. So I do know that Sam just finished the form yesterday, and I just approved it. So it should be going out to all of the why Dragonchain people, and anybody else who has already applied in person. Do ping Sam or support, and we will get that form out to you. And that's the setup to get started, and we will have to manually approve and manually turn it on your token, the ability to run an L4. So that should be this. into this week, beginning of next, depending upon how long it takes them to get all those messages out. Let's see here, Spansul. 118 energy. When can we see a Dragon Factor demo? Same thing. I've seen a demo. We only have the front part of it right now on self-certification. We need to get the auth built, and we need to get the integration of one of the providers. So, and we're still working on that. That's a business thing that seems to take forever, but we could, same thing. It would have to be through the stream. We would have to figure out how, and or maybe we could produce a video separately. It kind of depends. So anyway, Tenacious Dragon at 114 energy. In general right now, am I A, scared, B, nervous, C, excited, or D, all of the above? Not scared. Maybe if you're talking about the coronavirus, I assume, it kind of sucks that everything is up here, the outbreak going on. It's north of us in Kirkland, north of where we are at the office is Redmond and then Kirkland. And so it's not like right down the street, but it is really close, of course, and definitely within 15 miles. So that's not the best, mostly for family and for employees. I'm worried that everybody, stays in and does what they can do to avoid exposure. So, but who knows, we might already all have it, but hopefully it won't have too much effect. We'll see. And if it's for Dragonchain itself, I'm excited. There's a ton going on. There's probably too much going on. So we're trying to get everything, and so far everything is falling into place, and we're not having too much crazy overlap. It seems like all of the schedules are running well together. So let's see here, Dragon Time at 80 energy. About the picture above, are you in the suit, and is that you looking out, or is that a reflection of you being quarantined by the person in the suit? It was supposed to be me in the suit, or at least my profile picture, and that is probably the sloppiest GIMP Photoshop work that you could find. I didn't spend a lot of time on that, so there's a transparent ping that you can throw any graphic behind. And I had between JoJo or my profile pic, and my profile pic was a little bit easier to fit in there. So anyway, let's see here. Grits and Gravy, 57 energy. Can you share a Dragonchain feature or Dragonchain use case that surprised you? I've so far not been too surprised with anyone that's wanting to build anything. Most of them have come in with things that either we had played with before, or that we had worked on before, or in some cases, things that we wanted built and haven't had the time to do ourselves yet. Of the ones, because you think about Eternal and Eternal Proof Report, I had wanted that for over 2 years before we did it. This provable gaming thing, the provably fair gaming, I've wanted that for a long time, since shortly after I came upon Bitcoin. I saw that as something I really wanted right away. So mostly, I mean, I guess the way I look at it, though, is those are capabilities. So if you look at some of the products and some of the things that people, yes, I've been surprised and interested with some of what people are working on. But I think a lot of what we're doing is by nature a little bit early in the game, and so people, when they start to see some of these capabilities and start to think about how they can be combined in different ways with existing systems and other blockchains, that's where we need to get to, because that's the stuff that's going to surprise all of us, because there are so many combinations of capabilities that there's no way anyone could anticipate what could be built. So next, improvised guy at 36 energy. How are you doing on Dragon Factor? Great so far. We haven't actually had. If I'm correct, and I maybe should verify this, but we haven't actually had time to push it for a couple of weeks because we've been working on Den Creator Works, and we've been working on a couple of things eternal, and we've been working on some infrastructure pieces. So mostly we haven't done much in the past couple of weeks, but that a lot of that too is because the next piece to integrate is supposed to be the identity providers, and we're waiting on a couple of them in the deals. So the integration stuff. So, okay, next, any suspenseful, any update about Bounty program for non-dev users, that is translations and others? That we should figure out who's point of contact because that kind of got all changed around, and let me talk to the internal to the team, because it could either be support or it could be even community side. We are revamping some pieces in the website to get it back to where it was on some of the SEO and other optimizations. And so a lot of that's ongoing and some of the messaging. So when we're doing that, of course, I wanted it to be international, localized for quite a while, and we made a few steps towards that, but then we had to pull back. So apologies there. We'll figure that out, and we'll make sure that we, pull on for people for proper bounties. So speaking of bounties too, we do have a couple of project bounties that are happening that will probably be announced soon. It kind of depends on how things shake out, but there'll be some pretty good bounties. And that's for dev work as well. So let's see here. Grits and Gravy, 26 Energy. Any thoughts to tech talks with DC team? Short targeted talks about a feature and its usability. I'd love that. Some of the devs don't want to be, on camera and stuff that much. So I'll have to ask them. I'm trying to figure out if there's a way for us to bring other people in where it would either be, interview or conversation instead of me just, again, blabbering on and on for 30 minutes to an hour every week. So if you have ideas there, and we are talking with the CreatorWorks team about setting up studio in their office to do this or to do some of those things like we used to do, that would be pretty valuable. So we think that's going to happen, but I don't know if it'll be every week because it's a drive across the lake for me. So we could maybe move the time to instead of having it at 8. So we could see. Let's see here. Axion, is Dragon Scale still actual or abandoned? Cause legal problem or issue. So Dragon Scale, of course, it's still there. We want it to be as independent as possible, and so we are actually working with a team in Europe that we do hope is going to be rolling out something soon. Hopefully some amount of an announcement soon. I know we have some of the paperwork in I need to review, and that should be pretty interesting as a partnership, and it should be pretty valuable. So if we do all of that, it'll be a real concern. It'll be a real that's a real business concern, a real positive. And it would be run independently. And I think they have some ability to do things in a more, it's not a traditional way, but how do I say, to apply the platform in a more direct way, that we might not have to do devotions, that there might be some really interesting pieces there that should be really valuable, especially for early projects. Then the next, we have a couple of negative. Let's see here. Did I shave my beard looking at drag and drop a few days ago? I don't know. Oh, sorry. Drag and drop a few days ago. No, I didn't shave my beard. good or bad, I don't know. I was told it maybe is more risky with the virus going around to have facial hair, but I don't really if that matters. And we don't know what happened with that. Some people told me stats about it, but I don't know. I don't know precisely anything about who sold or why they sold or anything else. But let's see here. What else? I didn't see any questions. Surprised me about Look Lateral. And I should say that I'm hoping to talk to their team in either today or tomorrow. So we'll see. And I do believe that they have plans to do some things to hopefully make everybody happy. But they always have to run stuff through legal. So we have to respect their need to do that and everything else. Although I will let you know that I'm constantly pushing for transparency, number one. And number two, so far I've never seen anything that would be cause for concern, in my opinion, for their efforts to try to make this right. And I've talked at length about some of the things that happened that were beyond their control, and that's all. That's all I can say. I mean, it's their company, it's their entity, and they have intended since the beginning to use Dragonchain, and I remain excited about the prospect, and I hope that they are successful in getting things started up. And I do know that they have some really good opportunities in front of them. So a lot of it's about patience and the fact that you can't control everything. We'll see how all that pans out, and hopefully we'll get to learn publicly about what they're hoping to do, and we hope for their success. So, and we hope that everybody involved is actually happy in the end and gets what they could best hope out of it. So anyway, it's a project in crypto, and frankly, a lot of other projects would have given up years ago. Anyway, that's something that's not always fun to talk about, but there it is. Let's see if I have anything else. Audio good. Yes, Tommy, real-time reconciliation of compliance. That's the best way to describe it. If you have a compliance system, or if you have anything that might be regulated either internally or externally, the amazing thing that you can do with blockchain, and you can do it remote, and you can share with your vendors and your customers that you are following the declared process in ways that don't expose everything. That's an amazing thing. And to be able to do it real time, that it's, every 5 seconds, you have some degree of measurable, decentralized proof that your company is doing what it promises to do. So that has to be huge, and we're waiting for the industry, or even traditional industries, to understand that. So, and we have a few at least that are on board, that are moving forward, and that look really good. So, Tenacious Dragon asks, will DIN be the next 4chan? I don't know. I mean, I hope that it can be some level of where you have a really anti-censorship or really liberty-focused set of communities. We do obviously have to obey law wherever we are, but at the same time, we can offer tools for, let's say, dissidents anywhere in the world, or journalists that would keep that would offer anti-censorship measures, and also for you think whistleblowers, right? A way to get information out that isn't controlled by the powers that be. And do it in a way that honors both sides. That there are things that we have to do, especially with the general community. and things that everyone would want us to do, hopefully, to protect, from certain types of bad info. But at the same time, to be able to give those groups some more tools. And you think about it, identity is a big one. Anonymity is a big one. And we have really good, in my opinion, designs plugged in to the architecture there for DIN. So that's really, really important and a big part of the reason that DIN is there. Let's see here. Okay, beard, yes. Bull market, yes. Let's see here. About Trey and the food trust system or integrating with it. I'm not certain of which one you mean, but one way or another, it is similar at least to that, in that there hopefully will be some level of ability to get discounts for customers by purchasing early in the process, the supply chain process. So anyway, okay. Last questions here. Let's see here. Any work being done to pay out over the $500 threshold? I'll have to ask. I'm not certain. I know they have some measure that you can apply if you have more than that. But so I know we can do it manually already. And I don't know if we have anything in there ready to automate it. So let's see here. I think that's it. So thank you, everyone. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you come back next week. We'll be back. That was 41 minutes, not bad. And we will probably keep doing this with the AMA in DIN. So it's a clean way and it's ranked. And maybe I'll just start saying the top so many instead of going down all of them, right? So anyway, thanks a bunch and talk to you soon. Bye.